In addition to teaching at SAIT, Dan Stevenson is the creator and co-host of Fireside Chat, a Calgary Flames podcast that just aired its 60th episode. His audience is always growing thanks to his utilization of social media. Mike Crosby sat down with him for an interview.
What made you want to start a podcast?
You know, I've always been someone who enjoyed sharing my opinions. I've always been someone that enjoyed speaking. As a kid, I knew that I either wanted to be a talk show host or a radio DJ when I grew up, among other careers. And being a media professional and a guy who deals with new media every day, it was a logical fit for me to just get out there and express my opinions.
What goes into making an episode?
It's a lot more work than a lot of people would think it was. We have to do a lot of research. Being a Flames podcast, the hockey season moves so quickly. It's not like the NFL where there's one game a week. Often we'll have 2-3 games a week. So we got to do all our research, look up what's being talked about with the team, figure out what kind of angle we can give on that, or what news we just want to pass along. So pretty much what our week looks like is we record on Monday. So as soon as Monday night is over, we start show notes for the next week. We start compiling all the notes, things that have gone on with the team, things that have been talked about, tweets, reports in the Sun or the Herald, that sort of thing. Sunday night, we generally get together and do a pre-show run-through, figure out what order we want to put all that stuff in now that we've collected it. Monday night, we actually sit down and record the show. Generally, we go by script based on our show notes. Not really a script, but our show notes, making sure we hit everything that's important. Sometimes we will go off as different topics come up. And then once that's done, we compile the audio files and we send them off to our great team of editors who help us make the show sound great. Generally, try to put it online by Wednesday of that week. And then the process starts all over again.
How important is social media to increasing your listener base?
Social media for us has been extremely important. There's so many people doing podcasts online that you need some way to find them. You need some way to know who these people are and to build your community. We're fortunate with the Calgary Flames topic that we cover that there's already a built-in community there. But we found the social media is how we let people know when we have new episodes, let people know about just general news with the team, let them really become part of our group. And we ask questions there and we'll say, hey, does anybody know this? Or does anyone have an answer to this question we don't know? And so often through social media, people contribute to the show by tweeting us, going on Facebook, leaving their comments or, poll answers, that sort of thing. And it really helps us dictate as well what the content of our show is going to be sometimes.
Are you utilizing social media in unique ways? And if so, how?
I don't think we're necessarily using social media itself in unique ways. I think that we're using social media to promote some of the unique initiatives we have coming up. We just launched a VoIP-based call-in system. So you can actually call us through a computer, laptop, anything like that, and leave your feedback. We're using social media to promote that. We're using social media. Generally, my social media strategy is always drive people to the website. So I look at Facebook, Twitter, any of these things that we use as a way to drive people back to our site, because ultimately you want to get them through the front door.
What plans do you have to improve your podcast in the future?
We always have plans to improve. When I started this podcast, I had a grand vision of what I wanted it to be in a year, 2 years, 5 years. We would love to start experimenting with video on our podcast. Video as far as ad revenues go and engagement numbers go online. Huge amounts of engagement with video, but we want to make sure we're not doing video for the sake of just doing it or anything that we do. We'd love to do some live on location stuff with our community built up the way it is. We'd love to go live on location and do some work there. And we also want to continue improving our alumni relationship with the Flames and their alumni so we can get some really interesting alumni stuff happening, more alumni discussions and interviews. It's too bad that they had the anniversary for the Stanley Cup team last year, because we thought it would have been awesome to get all the alumni into one room and done like a Stanley Cup look back almost. So those are the kind of things that we would eventually like to be doing. It's just a matter of building up fan base and relations and getting the show kind of to another level.
Thanks to Dan for the interview. Based on what we've seen, he's on track to keep growing Fireside Chat well into the future. For SAIT Campus News, I'm Cody Hendry.